Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So, we are doing another tag video. This one I think is a few years old, but I figured why not. So, this is just the Witchy Tag. So, the video I saw it from was Nicole the Blind Mage, and let's just jump in. It's only 10 questions. So number one, what kind of witch do you classify as? Currently, I am just going with solitary witch because for the most part, I really don't do a lot of magic with other people. Once in a while, I'll do something with my husband, but for the most part, I'm a very solitary witch. I just kind of do things as I feel like it. I don't really wait for like the moon phases or, you know, like, oh, I gotta wait till it's Yule to do, well, actually I do that a little bit, but on a whole, I just kind of do things as I feel, and I change things in my practice how I do things just on a whim because it's not working, or I want to introduce something new, or I want to study something new. I just do it. I don't really have to like be like, oh, well, does the coven approve of this, or is this okay in this tradition? I just do me because it's just, this is it. This is all of what I do. Question 2, how long have you been studying magic? So within like, actually, when are you gonna see this? This is the day! Okay, so I'm not recording this on the day you see this, obviously. We all know most of us tend to record in advance, but actually today is the anniversary date of when I became a witch. So officially, when you're seeing this, 13 years to the day. As of recording this, it's like a week in advance, but yeah, 13 years. 13 years I've been a witch. I started in 2009. Question number 3, what got you into magic? Which, let's just flash back. The year is 2009. I am 13. And you know what was popular in 2009 when you were a teenage girl? Vampire books. And there's one in particular that had a bunch of series that just kept going endlessly. And that was the House of Night series. Me and my friend at the time were super obsessed with it, and we were reading the series and talking about it all the time. And then out of the blue, she decided to invite me to a full moon ritual that the coven she was a part of was hosting, and I was scared, but I begrudgingly went and was like, I need to not be so antisocial. I'm not letting fear take over my life, so I went. Nobody else showed up. Just me and her. The high priestess didn't show. The other newbies that were supposed to be there didn't show. So it was just me and my friend. And then I was technically initiated into Wicca. And needless to say, she's definitely gone back to Christianity. And I stuck with it. I was like, this is it. This is the thing. Yep, I didn't know this was an option. Kind of thought it was like, what branch of Christian do you want to be? Or not? Because that was pretty much all you see around here for the most part. Utah's gotten a little more diverse as more and more people move in here, but still, it's not a lot. And I didn't know that there was an option to believe in the old gods, to believe in nature, and like all of the woo that comes with it. Like, I didn't know that was an option. So once I found out, never looked back. What fascinates you about magic is question number 4. The biggest thing that I love about magic is that you can literally take a couple ingredients and intentions and whatever, and then change your life. And if you haven't done a successful spell yet, the second it happens, you're just like, ooh. And then you do it again. You're like, huh. And again, and again, and again, and again. And after 13 years of this, eventually you're just like, it's still fascinating that you're like, I can manifest things. And if it doesn't work, there's usually a reason why. Sometimes it's the correspondences you use. They're actually not working super great together. You might need to adjust things. Might be timing. It might be verbiage. Might not really be what you actually want. Like, it's more of an ego-based thing instead of like a soul-based thing. Like, there's a lot of stuff. But on a whole, like, the fascination of like, if I decide that I'm gonna burn this candle and I'm gonna put these crystals and herbs around it, I'm gonna burn it on this specific day of the week for this many days, and this many weeks or whatever, during this season, this thing will manifest. And it's like, huh? It's so cool that we can do that. Question number 5, what area of magic do you study? So, keeping in mind, 13 years is a long time of active study for anything. So, I have studied a lot of different things. So right now I'm currently trying to get a little bit better grasp on the runes, trying to still connect with them. I really haven't talked about it too much on the channel since I did my series, but I'm still doing stuff with them. And I actually, you might have seen a video actually by the time you see this. I don't record these videos in order either, I just, as I'm going, record. So you might see them not in the order I record them, because I think I've already talked about it. Anyways, I'm working on rune affirmations to kind of get a better way to like understand them and like get it in my brain of like what they are. And so like I'm doing that right now. I'm also trying to do a little bit with like tarot. There's a new deck that comes out soon and I need it. Trick or Treat Tarot. Yep. And the miner has stuff. It's not just 5 cups. It has a whole scene attached. Yes, I need it. But yeah, those are kind of the main things that I'm working on right now, and like a little bit more on like my correspondences. But after 13 years, some of it's just like refresher stuff, and some of it's just like, I should probably know how to do this, you know? But yeah, I'm currently, like, my main focus is like getting better with the runes and like kitchen witchery in particular. But even then, like, I've been doing that for years. It's just like new recipes and stuff. So anyways. Number 6, how do you study magic? Now for me, the majority of the time I go to books, and I usually try to stick with the more witchy, well-established publishing houses. We've talked about why. Occasionally I will look it up online. I don't trust that as much. I usually try and reference back to somebody that is more well-versed in the community, because there does tend to be a lot of misinformation spread out there in the interwebs. And like there's a lot of just like the trendy witches and people just getting paid because it's a trendy topic. They want to get a paycheck. So they Google search the stuff, and sometimes that's not accurate because other people did the same thing, and you know, if you've ever played telephone, you understand. The content I like to watch on YouTube is kind of extinct anymore. For those of us who were here in the YouTube community for witchcraft and paganism in like 2009, peak era, I miss that. I don't love the very well edited and scripted vibes. It just feels fake. I've missed when we used to feel genuine. And there's a few channels out there that still do that, but they are rare. And a lot of times they don't have all of the content that I'm looking for, which sucks. But yeah, I mostly now just go to books for my information. Number 7, do you have a grimoire or a book of shadows? I've talked about this. I have a book of shadows I keep electronically and physically. I do need to update it, but I love having the two, because literally when I was researching stuff, I needed to look up what the correspondences were for the like runes and stuff, and I could just type it into my phone, pull up the information, and it's right there. I don't have to go hunt down my book of shadows, flip to the section, find the page that I need. I can just search it and it's really fast. But if I wanted to take my book of shadows somewhere, it's there, you know? So it's kind of nice to have both. And I do consider it a book of shadows. Some people are like, oh, well, that's more of a grimoire. And I'm like, I think it's more of a book of shadows because it has a lot of stuff in there. It's informational, but it's also my experience with stuff. So to each their own, whatever you want to call it. Again, Solitary Witch, it doesn't really matter what I call it because it's just for me. Number 8. How do you usually go about making your altar or magical space? So for me, I usually start with the intent or the purpose for it. So if I'm making a new altar, what is the point? So for example, I want to work on making a Mabon altar. I know it's technically the season of Lunasa, but like listen, the second the end of September comes, Mabon's going away and Salmon's coming out. Hardcore. I mean, it kind of already is because, you know, Raven and coffin bookcase, but still. And my fiction bookcase has like a mummy and a lot of other Halloween decor, like 6 pumpkins, skeleton, crystal skulls, crystals everywhere. For example, with that one, I am planning on making the Mabon altar, so I'm going to focus on the colors associated with Mabon, correspondences, stuff like that. Every item that goes on there is going to be around that theme, and then what other elements do I want to include? So like usually I will have something for the deities I work with. Typically it's the same statues, I just place them somewhere on there. And then I might include some tools that I use often, incense burner holder thing, a lighter. I might include like a smudge stick of some sorts or whatever. Currently I have some Palo Santo wood I'm burning through, which seems to last for like ever. And then I'll have like my candle snuffer, some candles for the gods, whatever, space for like spell work, stuff like that. So that's kind of one of those things where like I'll usually pick a thing and then I just go with it. Sometimes it's just what tools do I need, like when we blessed our rings after we got married, we just kind of set up a brief altar of like stuff that we need. And it was like, representation for all of the elements, don't have space for a cool pentacle. That's what that's for. And it was like, okay, we're using the runes to bless these, so make an itty bitty little circle on our itty bitty little table with the runes. And it was like more practical, but as for like creating sacred space, always just cast circle as per usual. And sometimes it's a little more formal, a little more informal. Sometimes it's just visualization. Sometimes I bring out the bells and whistles, literally, and incense, bells, candles, salt, water, the whole 9 yards. But for the most part, usually I just stick with like visualization and like a candle. But that's how I started in the craft 13 years ago. And it just kind of sticks with you. Sometimes you just pick a thing and you're like, it works. Number 9, what advice would you give new witches wanting to learn magic? I've talked about this a lot, but honestly, I think the biggest thing is to research and then carefully experiment. So research is not just going to your favorite TikToker, your favorite influencer, and yes, witches can be influencers. There's a lot actually out there. They're the popular ones that you usually find. Don't just stick with them. Go to a more well-established author. Read some stuff. You might not agree with it, and if you're not really hurting anyone, doesn't necessarily matter, but get your foundational stuff done first. Typically, if you pick up a Llewellyn book, you're pretty much set. They usually have the best authors. They do kind of have a standard of information and stuff in their books that I've found that the random publishing houses just don't do. So do your research, do a lot of research. That's never ending. That's what witchcraft is. And then experiment, because you won't know if you love witchcraft until you do it. And once you have, you know, you've read a couple books, then you're like, all right, yeah, no, this is the thing. Start doing it. Usually these books are going to have exercises for you to try anyways. Start trying them. Just remember, what you see online does not always mean that it's accurate. Again, there's a lot of people that just kind of write witchcraft stuff and they're not even into it, and they just Googled the answers themselves. So just be careful. It's not all, but there are a lot. And then lastly, the old adage of ever, who do you tag for this questionnaire? You, dear viewer, you who watches, whomever you may be, do the tag. So anyways, that is going to be it for this tag video. I would love to hear your answers either in the comments or if you want to do a video response and just let me know like, hey, I did a video response to this, blah, blah, blah. Leave a link, because I think I can still approve those. Sometimes if you leave a link, it auto spams it, but I check that folder at least a few times a week, so like I'll see it. So do make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I post every single day. Huge shout out to my patron. I will put their name here. And until next time, thank you so much for watching, and bless be.